Well, good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. And I'm really glad to begin this week again with you. And so come in and sit down. And let's begin this week together. Let's begin just in a moment of quiet reflection. You will recall that King David had an affair with Bathsheba. Do you remember that? And he looked over and saw this beautiful woman bathing and desired her. And because of that affair, he had her husband Uriah killed. Now Nathan, the prophet, came to David to challenge and convict him of this action. And he did so by telling him a story. He told him a parable in which he said that a rich man who had many sheep had gone and stolen the one sheep belonging to his poor neighbor. Well, when David heard that story, he was enraged on behalf of the poor man. And he could not believe that a man of great power and great wealth had done this to his neighbor. And Nathan said to him, "You are that rich man." And David was mortified and was forced to face his own sin. And so when we look at the sin of the world, it can be as if we look at sin that is out there and we fail to look within. And so we have to stop and look at the rebellion that lies in our own hearts. And this is not an easy thing to do. And so we turn to God and we ask for His grace that we might know our own sin completely and profoundly, in order that we would know the depth of God's love for us. We want to know our sin at the very level of our feelings. And so we can do this by asking some questions of ourselves. We might ask, what have I done? What have I failed to do habitually, instinctively, and at each stage of my life? And so you can go back and look at the patterns of what you've done and what you failed to do throughout your life. Where have I acted independently of God? When did I make up my own rules? How have I been dishonest to others and to myself? Where was I cruel or abusive? Where was I lustful and greedy in my desire for power, control, and self-gratification? And to what degree have I rationalized and made excuses? How have I let my heart become cool towards God and others? What evil continues because of me? And who remains hurt or damaged because of my selfishness? How have I been deaf to the cry of the poor? How have I insulated myself, lived in my own world so that I can avoid the needs of others? How much does my comfort cost others? Do I advocate for the poor? As we confront our sin, so we are overwhelmed by God's abundant mercy, deep forgiveness, and inexhaustible love. This should not be depressing. It should be liberating. This is a time to say thank you. Thank you to God for His mercy. It goes against the grain to examine our own hearts. But the purpose here is to experience deep, deep gratitude for God's inexplicable love of us. A natural response to this exploration of our willful sin is a sense of genuine remorse, and yet rejoicing in God's love. We're not talking here about shame, because sometimes shame can be destructive because it goes to a measure of our own value. But rather this leads us to see our value in God's eyes. That though we sin, yet God is merciful, yet God is loving. Many of us will be tempted to say, well, I've not done anything bad. But the truth is we all have. And without a sense of sin, we have no sense of God's grace. And so today, and through the coming week, take time to be reflective on where it is that you exercise a rebellion against the leadership and love and instruction and against the will of the Father who loves you beyond measure. And when you have looked at those sins, when you have written them down, when you have confessed them, feel deeply the liberation of His love. May you be blessed this week and this day. Amen.